The Lantern of the Quiet Lake. In a secluded valley far from bustling towns, nestled between emerald mountains and whispering forests, lay a tranquil lake. The water, still and reflective, mirrored the changing skies, golden at dawn, azure by midday, and deep violet by dusk. Surrounding the lake was a carpet of soft moss, wildflowers, and scattered leaves that fell like gentle whispers. Beside this lake stood a wooden cabin, small and humble, with a stone chimney puffing out soft trails of smoke. Its walls bore the marks of time, weathered and gray, yet it exuded a charm that spoke of comfort and history. Inside this cabin lived Elias, a man whose presence was as steady as the lake itself. His hair, silver and unruly, framed a face lined with gentle wrinkles, each one a testament to years spent in harmony with the world around him. Elias was the lantern keeper. Every evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains and shadows stretched across the valley, he would light a small lantern and place it at the edge of the wooden dock that extended over the water. The lantern's light was warm, soft, and unwavering, casting golden ripples across the lake's surface. The lantern was more than a habit for Elias, it was a beacon of solace. Though he lived alone, his light had become a silent companion to the villagers who lived in the valley or visited the lake. Travelers who passed by on moonlit nights often said the glow felt like a guiding star, a reminder that even in darkness, there was always light. The arrival of Clara. One autumn, when the air grew crisp and the trees adorned themselves in fiery hues of orange and red, a young woman named Clara arrived at the lake. Clara was a writer, though she had not written a single word in months. The noise of the city had drained her, and the pressures of deadlines and expectations had smothered her creativity. She had come to the valley seeking refuge, hoping that the stillness of nature might restore something she feared she had lost. She rented a small cottage on the northern shore of the lake. It was a modest place with creaky wooden floors and a fireplace that crackled softly at night. From her window, Clara could see the lake stretching out like a vast mirror, framed by the distant mountains. Each evening, Clara would take long walks around the lake. She cherished the quiet, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the call of an owl. But what caught her attention most was the soft glow of the lantern. Night after night, she watched as its light appeared like clockwork, steady and unwavering. Her curiosity grew. Who lit the lantern? Why did it shine every night? These questions lingered in her mind until one evening she decided to find out. Meeting the lantern keeper. The path to the cabin was narrow, lined with mossy stones and the gnarled roots of ancient trees. The sound of her footsteps was muffled by the soft earth, and the air was filled with the faint scent of pine and wood smoke. As Clara approached the cabin, she saw Elias sitting on a wooden stool near the dock, polishing the lantern with slow, deliberate movements. "Good evening," Clara said hesitantly. Elias looked up, his weathered face breaking into a kind smile. "Good evening, miss. Out for a walk, are you?" "I've been staying by the lake for a few weeks," Clara explained. "Every night I see your lantern. It's beautiful. I wanted to know more about it." Elias chuckled softly. "Ah, the lantern. It's been my companion for many years. Come sit by the fire. I'll make us some tea." Inside the cabin, Clara was struck by its simplicity. The walls were lined with shelves holding books, jars of herbs, and carvings of animals. A thick quilt lay folded on a rocking chair, and the scent of cedarwood lingered in the air. Over cups of chamomile tea, Elias shared the story of the lantern. "When I first came to this lake many years ago, he began. I felt overwhelmed by its stillness. It was beautiful, yes, but also lonely at night. One evening, I lit a lantern and left it on the dock. It was a small gesture, but it made the lake feel less empty. Since then I've lit it every night. It's my way of offering a little light to anyone who might need it. A growing friendship. Clara found herself visiting Elias often. He taught her how to care for the lantern, how to trim the wick, refill the oil, and ensure the glass remained clear. In return, she shared her own struggles, speaking of the writer's block that had brought her to the lake. You don't need to force words, Elias said one evening. Stories are like the lake. They reflect what's already inside you. Be still, and the words will come. Clara took his advice to heart. She began to spend her days by the water, observing the ripples, the birds, and the changing light. Slowly, her notebook began to fill with sketches of stories, simple, heartfelt tales inspired by the world around her. The lantern's legacy. As the first snow of winter blanketed the valley, Elias called Clara to the cabin. He handed her the lantern, his hand steady despite their age. It's your turn now, he said with a gentle smile. This light has guided me for many years, but it's time for someone else to carry it. Pass it on when the time feels right. Clara hesitated, overwhelmed by the weight of the gesture. I'm not sure I'm ready, she admitted. You are, Elias said firmly. The light doesn't belong to any one person. It's meant to be shared. That evening, Clara lit the lantern for the first time. As its glow spread across the snowy landscape, she felt a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. A tradition continued. Years passed, and Clara became the new lantern keeper. Travelers and villagers alike would visit her, drawn to the warm light and her stories of the lake. Just as Elias had done, Clara welcomed them with tea, kindness, and a listening ear. When the time came, Clara passed the lantern on to another, a young artist seeking inspiration. And so the cycle continued, the lantern's light passing from hand to hand, its gentle glow a timeless symbol of hope, connection, and the beauty of quiet moments by the lake.